Good morning and welcome to the AM News. And in our first story, former President John Mahama is asking President Akufo-Addo to call a summit on youth employment in a bid to find what he describes as sustainable employment for the many unemployed youths in the country. As part of his thank you tour of the Bono region on Wednesday, the 2020 NDC flag bearer told the Bono Regional House of Chiefs his party is ready to sit and offer suggestions to achieve permanent jobs for the youth. Precious Semerville has more on the NDC's thank you tour in Sunyani.
Tour of the Bono region saw John Mahama and his team, including his 2020 running mate, Professor Jane Nano Pokwajiman, chairman of Osuampofo, and other executives held a meeting with the clergy, Regional House of Chiefs and Imam, and the party supporters in Sunyani. Responding on Moonlight FM to reactions to his earlier do-or-die comment described by the MPP as inappropriate, John Mahama said his comment is an idiomatic expression directed at the NDC members and has no intentions of retracting.
Do the needful or perish. And so you must do the needful.
NDC should not wait and go to the Supreme Court again. Everything necessary at the polling stations and coalition centers must be done.
And so I don't retract. The next election for NDC is going to be a do-or-die affair. It's different from all die be die. All die be die, broken English, pidgin jargon, but we do or die, could be a dictionary in affair. And I say it's a do or die affair. NDC must man the polling stations, they must man the collation centers, make sure the pink sheets are correct, make sure we get the right results and everything, because
if I am to be the NDC flag bearer again, I will not go to the Supreme Court.
But NDC flag bearer, I'm not going to the Supreme Court. We must win at the polling station and the collation center. And Electoral Commission would have no option but to declare who the true winner is.
At the Regional House of Chiefs, John Mahama urged President Akufo-Addo to call a summit on youth employment in a bid to find a lasting solution.
The youthful population now they will turn to something else and it will become a disadvantage.
Two heads are better than one. We in the NDC are ready to sit down, and if the president would agree, we should call a summit on youth employment to brainstorm and suggest how we can resolve unemployment.
To come out with suggestions how we can resolve this unemployment.
During, for instance, crowd control, men in uniform feel less protected because of obsolete equipment. Again, mostly footage from the grounds for critical analysis is nowhere to be found. Now, what if there's a body shield equipped with wireless camera technology that can detect and record dangers from especially blind spots? Fortunately, a Ghanaian engineer has done just that. On Tech Thursday, Love FM's Kwesi Deborah speaks with the engineer, Emmanuel Rekubrobe.
When I heard of various committees being set to investigate a Jura incident concerning our late brother Kaka, and I realized that there are a lot of things that engineers in Ghana can also actually do to help some of these things in future, as to ascertain what caused death in an event, one event or the other. We realized that people were called to testify, and then why not come out with an invention which could inculcate camera, so that when there is an incident on a battlefield or riot control, instead of going to be calling people to come and testify, of which we can have falsehood, the cameras itself will be able to, give us vivid happenings. So that's one of the motivation for coming out with the communication gadget. Actually, our men in uniform normally goes for crowd control. They go for crowd control, and at the end of the day, they themselves, for the fear of their lives, decide to shoot. Sometimes they are left with no option than to shoot, because they themselves are not protected. You go there and people are throwing stones at you, and you look left, right, center. The only thing you have is your AK-47, so you point to the crowd and then you shoot. So this shield is supposed to offer optimum protection for our men so that they will feel much confident when they are on field. And then to actually scare people from coming closer to them. Because you know, whatever you throw to them will not hurt the person and will be able to grab you. The hand is also made of metal and it's very thick for that matter to be able to block any anything that one wants to hurt you with. Yeah, I have in communication gadgets. That's a Motorola here, and then linked with earpiece, and then that will help you to actually communicate to people in your control room, so that when there is a problem ahead of you, they will be able to see through the cameras and then communicate to you. Possibly 100 meters away from you, there is danger, so turn right, turn left. These cameras and then the communication gadgets will be able to help the men in control. It could be in an armored vehicle. You have your backup team there monitoring your movement on the field, and then they communicate to you as to how to go about with your movement.
20 students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology School of Medicine and Dentistry have completed a course in medical journalism with the Multimedia Group. This follows a memorandum of understanding between the group and the KNUST School of Medicine and Dentistry to train medical students in health journalism. It's been 14 months since the signing of the MOU between the Multimedia Group Limited and KNUST. Love FM's Kwesi Debra again.
The students underwent rigorous training in broadcast journalism, feature writing, data journalism, science technology health journalism, photo and video journalism, audio and video editing, among others. General Manager of the Multimedia Group Kumasi Unit, James Agla, was hopeful that graduates will help to strengthen the group's help desk.
Our quest to ensure credible journalism has called for the establishment of specialized news desks. Now, the health news desk is one of the integral parts, ensuring we serve our audiences with accurate and current health information. Ladies and gentlemen, the collaboration is therefore meant to strengthen our health news reporting. It is expected this will positively impact the lives of the people and sanitize the health journalism atmosphere in Ghana and beyond.
The president of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Frank Ankobia, lauded the initiative. He believes their expertise will positively impact Ghana's public health system.
We are so glad to have our own coming out as communicators and journalists. I'm sure you are committed to improving public health through journalism. In fact, all that you are doing is for you to ensure that there's good public health for the people of Ghana. We see people reporting medical cases and all other things. And because they are not conversant with even the terms in our practice, normally if you sit, be it the print, the broadcast or internet, it's laughable. But I believe sincerely that having you, the landscape for media, the media space is going to change completely in Ghana.
Board Chair of the National Health Insurance Authority and Foundation faculty member, Dr. Ernest Kwako, was hopeful the initiative will permeate other disciplines.
The future is bright. Look, after, let's say, getting to Masters of Medical Journalism, I think the journalism profession opens a space for many collaborations. You can have legal journalism, right? It's possible. If medical journalism is possible, why legal journalism is possible? There should be business journalism, it is possible, right? In fact, once you make journalism the constant factor, all other professional doors can be opened.
The Dean of the School of Medicine and Dentistry, KNUST, Professor Daniel Anson, reviewed the introduction of the program to other students in the School of Medicine and Dentistry. He says the university is discussing the possibility of launching master's degree in medical journalism in the near future. One of the graduates, Emanuela Osetutu, was enthralled by the experience.
So none of us had any idea what we're getting into, but we can all attest to the fact that it's been very educative, an eye-opener into the world of journalism.
The ceremony saw 11 female and 9 male medical students presented with certificates. Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
Now let's move to the Bono East region, and the minister, Kwesi Edujan, has highlighted the need for Ghanaians to see literacy as a tool for the eradication of poverty. He made this call at a forum to mark this year's International Literacy Day, which was held in Techiman under the theme Complementary Education for Human Development in the COVID-19 Era, the role of digital literacy. There's more in the following report by Anas Sabit.
The International Literacy Day takes place on September 8 every year to raise awareness and concern on literacy problems that exist within our local communities as well as across the world. This year's event, held under the theme Complementary Education for Human Development in COVID-19 Era, the role of digital literacy, was organized by the Non-Formal Education Division of the Ministry of Education in partnership with the United Nations Scientific and Cultural Organization. National Director of the Non-Formal Education Division of the Ministry of Education, Mr. Francis Asumadu, highlighted the significance of the International Literacy Day.
International Literacy Day is special and significant to all literacy providers because it affords us opportunity to make sober reflections on what progress we had made and the challenges that lie ahead of us, and the lessons learned undoubtedly requires new strategies and interventions in order to move forward as a nation.
He again noted that though the COVID-19 pandemic affected education globally, strategic measures were adopted to ensure that teaching and learning is facilitated through family literacy engagements.
We all agree that the COVID-19 pandemic has heaped lots of challenges on education globally, and our country was not spared out. Yet, the ministry and its agencies could be commended for their unrelenting support in the provision of quality education delivery in Ghana. We, in the Complementary Education Agency, continue to use to reach our constituents, that is our non-literate learners, through family literacy engagement.
Deputy Minister for Education, Madam Gifty Chum Ampofo, underscored the important role the internet played during COVID-19 and called on all to take advantage of digital platforms.
Everybody speaks about disadvantages of COVID, how economies are coming to a standstill, and how money has been spent. But I would say that by the magic of digitalization, COVID has made us realize that everything that we need to learn, no matter how indisposed you are, once you have this tool we call a cell phone, which you could use that for WhatsApp and all other things, you could use these same tools for enhancing ourselves.
On his part, Bono East Regional Minister Mr. Kwesi Edujan said there is the need for the people to see literacy as a tool for eradicating poverty.
In modifying the approaches of teaching and learning through the use of digital tools, we should be guided that literacy is not just about educating, it is a unique and powerful tool to eradicate poverty and a vehicle for the promotion of culture and national identity. It is indeed the bulwark against poverty and a building block for development.
Former Education Minister under the S12 Kufuor administration and now board chairman for the Public Procurement Authority, Professor Christopher Amia Okunfi, stated that literacy education is key to building a truly progressive democratic country.
Residents of OKORASE and Domiabra in the Equiapim North Municipality of the Eastern Region are protesting government's failure to fix a broken footbridge in the area. The bridge, which broke barely a fortnight ago, has cut off about 11 towns and villages who rely on it to cart goods and services from one community to another. Correspondent Edwin Kofisian reports.
Constructed across the Densu River in the year 1803, the bridge is the only means by which one can commute from one community to another. Teaching and learning has halted as school children and teachers living in these communities are still home, even though schools are in session. The protesters, clad in red bands, say the situation requires an emergency government intervention.
And I'm a teacher in the nearby community. And my brother, if you come here, it's pathetic. You can see from the background. I mean, we have children who live in a village and they can't even come across. I mean, it's so pathetic. I mean, just ask yourself. I mean, the way you're sitting, ask yourself. Look at your condition. And look at the condition of these poor villagers. Please. We are pleading with the government to come in and assist them, please. It is very, very important.
The Queen Mother of Domiabra, Nana Oye Esiwa Apim I, who joined the protest, explained that she alerted government about the deteriorating bridge, but her concerns were swept under the carpet. The assemblyman for OKORASE, Charles Edu Asino, tells JoyNews all effort to get the government fix the bridge has fallen on deaf ears.
I strongly believe, sir, Bibi Ohonoma ebetimi ajojo. Until now, I expect assembly no, and the leadership of the government, sir. And even if I had assembly number 2 on Anka Yemisha community, na yenchra okwanya o my den afaso. On passe à mon fix bridge, you know.
Edwin Kofisian for JoyNews. Koforidua.
And that'll be all for the AM News. For more news, please go to myjoyonline.com. The AM show continues, and we're diving straight into the newspapers with Israelai and myself. Don't go anywhere. Why must anybody die?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
But anyway.
We'll have that conversation.
We'll have that conversation and with our panelists, but we'll look into other things. We'll look at who, there's been this debate about who are better managers of the economy. It's between the NDC and the MPP. And if you ask me, I'll say both of them have failed.
That's your opinion. But I think it was 2 days ago or so in one of the newspapers, one of the Reverend Fathers of the Diocese of somewhere in the Volta region said that there's a lot of argument, Anglican diocese here, there's Tamale, there's a lot of arguments that goes on about this, but at the end of the day, when the money or this whatever award that we're fighting for does not translate into money in the average Ghanaian's pocket, it doesn't really matter how you're managing it. And broke is still broken. Komi is still 1 cedi 50 pesos and Charlie.
1 cedi 50 pesos?
Yeah.
It's 2 cedis.
Well, my joint is 1 cedi 50 pesos, and it's the size of like half of a normal bowl of kinky. So I love the kinky sellers. They don't take their prices up; they just reduce the size of the komi.
All right, let's get into the newspapers.
Israel,
yeah.
Are you going to do it for 11 minutes?
Maybe, maybe not.
Oh God. Anyway, okay, 6:38.
I mean, the paper you start with is likely to take most of it, and the Daily Graphic. It's the Daily Graphic. Okay, it's the Daily Graphic.
Okay, Israel.
It's not like
thou defendest too much.
A 4-page or 8-page
Thou
paper.
defendest too much.
This is what? How many pages today? We're looking at 48 pages.
Okay.
Yeah. So allow.
I've allowed. I love the story on the front page.
The mentally ill persons invade streets. They're threatening efforts to keep cities clean. But yes, they've been in the streets all this while. We keep saying we're trying to get them out, but we're never successful at it.
And you know, the painful thing sometimes about some of these mentally ill people who are on the streets are that they've been in the hospital, they've had treatment, but when they're released, they have nowhere to go to. So then they relapse because there's nobody to monitor their medication and all of that.
It boils down to how serious we are as a country when it comes to social welfare, taking care of people.
Yeah.
People are falling through the cracks. So, yeah, this will happen and keep happening, and we'll talk about it. This is not the first time this has been talked about.
No, it's not.
And it isn't going to be the last time.
Unfortunately.
Okay. So that's the main story on the front page of the Daily Graphic.
Daily Graphic.
You can read some more about it on page 3. Then on page 5, mass graves uncovered in Ethiopia's Amhara region. Somali feminists faces threats on Facebook. Nigerian separatist leaders use President Buhari. And Guinea coup leaders free dozens of political prisoners. Okay, but then there's another story about they've been suspended from ECOWAS. It's also here in the Daily Graphic. And on page 9, resistance forces oppose recognition of Taliban government. Trial of Paris attack suspects opens. And Spanish bishop quits after falling in love. Okay.
Oh.
When Spanish Bishop Javier Novel resigned last month, the Roman Catholic Church cited strictly personal reasons without going into detail. It has now emerged in Spanish media that he fell in love with a woman who writes satanic-tinged erotic fiction.
Oh, my God.
Oh, damn.
Oh, my God. Okay. Honestly, right, Israel, I thought they were going to say he fell in love with a nun or something, which is like, okay, proximity. He fell in love with a who, what, where.
All the way. Out
Hey!
so you fell
That's
in love with
a
woman who writes satanic-tinged erotic fiction.
Hey! Bishop. Hey! I see. Okay.
And then, let's move on to other stories. Afajato women rights farmers commended for resilience. Okay, you're a great example. We have to tell your story. The rest of Ghana and the world need to know. Okay, that's good. Companies support Stop Domestic Violence Initiative. And then ECOWAS suspending Guinea. That story is on page 16. Contractors face prosecution over road damage. Okay. Says if you want the government to fix the country, everybody must fix himself or herself. It does not make sense that we call on the president to fix the country, yet the same people making the call are destroying the road. Okay, that's Kwesi Amakwata, Minister of Roads and Highways, addressing journalists during an inspection of some roads. And then in politics, retract do or die comment. Dr. Asante urges Mahama. Says violence will not help anybody. I really hope that he will find another platform and correct himself, even if what he said was in jest. No, but he's come back. Former president has come back to say that no, he stands by his comment, and then he's put it in context. He says, well, it's an idiomatic expression.
Is it, though?
Well, we'll get into that conversation later. Youth must show interest in entrepreneurship. That's an MP saying that.
I don't know why. Why should they show an interest in entrepreneurship? We're not favoring, Ghanaian businesses. We don't have good tax cuts and stuff for Ghanaian businesses. We don't have funds to support them. We don't have, and the exchange rate is crazy. You buy something for $100, it's up, it's down. So why should they show an interest in entrepreneurship?
True, but the jobs are also not available. So between the jobs not being available,
a rock and a hard place. Yeah, but I'm just saying that. No, but I think what I'm actually really saying is that when you're going to say things like this, which is fine, you also have the power to make change because you're an MP, you're in Parliament. And this is not like a personal attack on him. I'm just saying that why don't we actually put structure? Because when the structures are in place, then it would be, obvious.
Yeah, we've been trying to put structures in place for a long
time. We've been trying to do a lot for like how we are waiting for 5 years to develop the vaccine. That time COVID-19 will be COVID-21. What are we going to do then?
We'll develop another one.
In another 5 years when 21 is 23. Okay.
All right, so we consider Western, okay, but the bit about the development of the vaccine, they're not like looking at developing a COVID-19 vaccine in 5 years, but they're putting the structures in place so that we can develop vaccines ourselves.
We started having malaria how many years ago? Should they not have thought back then to have put the structures in?
Yeah.
Which is why there's still no vaccine. Well, there's a vaccine for malaria, but obviously it's not as widespread as.
Well, yeah, we've said that we set structures.
This morning you're just like in a very we've talked down, we are tired mood.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Reconsider Western democracy practice, lecture urges African leaders, and 2024 general election critical for NDC MPP. That's former President John Mahama. GBA, the Ghana Bar Association, is set for polls in Bolga, and we brought you that interview with Tony Forsing, the GBA president, yesterday, and all that he had to say about why they're not being as vocal as the GBA used to be. He says we're in a different dispensation. We used to be in a revolutionary era, but then now being in the democratic era, things have to change. They can't behave the way they used to. Government must not disappoint Volta. That's VDF. That's a development organization. Volta Development Forum. Cross-border traders appeal to government for help. They say, we want to pay our duties because we are law-abiding citizens, but the security agencies are not helping. They tell us to pay 50% and then pockets the rest, which is not helping the government. Farmers shun insurance, 29,000 of 5 million insured. Okay, that's woeful. Just a few people, essentially a few farmers, getting insured or insuring their operations. Give more attention to financial education. That's Professor Kwame Kakari. Protection needed for quality plant varieties. And CD overvaluation abates RMB milk index. In regional news, Achim Winneri Presbyterian Chapel Manse inaugurated, and Tanyangba Youth NGO Support Community Health Center. And the center spread a graphic Accra Brewery to strengthen partnership, and President Ethiopian Prime Minister hold bilateral talks. Develop policy to regulate small-scale mining. The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources is urging the board. This was at the swearing-in of the Minerals Commission Board into office in Accra. Will maintain integrity of democratic institutions. That's President Akufo-Addo saying that, and this was at when he received the letters of credence from Ms. Harriet Thompson, the British High Commissioner to Ghana, and some other diplomats. Let entrepreneurship lead our drive to prosperity. That's another call. We'll match Galamsey's with resilience. That's Abu Jinapor saying that, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. And brave woman falls robbery. Suspected robber remanded. So the story goes, the Adentan Circuit Court has remanded a man who allegedly tried to rob a cleaner of a bag in broad daylight. It was the woman's bravery that attracted help from a dutiful private security operative which crashed the operation of the robber. The accused person, Gideon Kwame Agbo, has been charged with robbery at the court presided over by Ms. Sedinam Awo Baloka. He has, however, denied the charge. His accomplice is currently on the run. Okay. So there's more in the story. You can get that in the Daily Graphic. Ghana hasn't discovered $150 billion lithium. That's the Mineral Commission. And LMI Holdings to establish in land port at Debre. Prison Service welcomes introduction of tracking system. Middle Belt Authority hands over 9 projects in Bono region. Technology firms urge to take advantage of AFTA. And rethink benchmark policy, all Palm stakeholders. Also in education, be innovative, ethical, GIL director advises staff. And that's the Ghana Institute of Languages. Private universities need support, government support. That's CAF University College saying that. And Access Bank offers housing mortgage facility to military. Okay, that's good. Ghana-US needs strategic partnership. That's Alan Shermanting. And in graphic showbiz, there's a segment here in the paper. Sex is not dirty. That's Uncle Lebo White saying that. Yeah. Sex isn't dirty, is it?
No, it's not dirty, but it can be dirty. Like the good, never mind.
How does it get it?
It's the good, you see, yeah.
Does sex get
like there's a good kind of dirty, but he means, the bad kind of dirty, where people think and have these, preconceptions. Is that even the word about sex? But it's not. It's the Bible says that the marriage bed is undefiled and is green and is full of glorious things and pleasures to explore and enjoy.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Okay, don't share problems on social media. Kuse Japan advises celebrities. And Paul Adumochi,
hey, bro, Paul. Hey,
airport company.
What's up? Life the real.
Paul Adumochi.
Yeah, chairman.
The host of Good Evening Ghana on Metro TV. Is a Paul Adumochi.
I like how you're not allowing my commentary to sway.
The board of directors of the Ghana Airports Company Limited. As nominee of President Nana.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of commentary on that. All sorts of things have been said, but yeah.
From now on, you will refer to him as Chairman Paul. How you say Chairman? You can't say Chairman, can you?
Chairman.
All right.
I can even say it better, Chairman.
Like Chaiman. Chowmain.
Tebel Ghana Limited. Okay. What
you've done 15 minutes.
I haven't done 15.
You have. It's 6:50.
What do you want to say about it?
I don't want to say anything. I want you to finish so I can do the daily guide.
I can give you the rest of the graphic to finish.
Wow.
Okay. So that story about the mentally ill persons in various streets it continues on page 45. Let's quickly do some sports. Arsenal rejects Galatasaray bid for El Neni, and Chelsea fined £25,000 over James's red card. And we won't lose our guard against CI Kamsa. That's Hearts PR. And Dua pays tribute to coaches Afrani and Ayu. On the back page, Duapre Mine opens 20-bed unit at Apinto Hospital. It will serve Takwa in Swem Municipality. And 3-week ultimatum to Manet Tema Motorway Quarters. Okay, I'm done. 16
minutes. On the front page of the...
It took how many minutes?
2, so 14 minutes.
You didn't take
even if I took 3, still 13 minutes, Israel. Wow.
It's a daily graphic.
Okay, well, the daily guide, definitely not 13 minutes. Front page,
it is not the daily graphic.
Front page, Mahama fired for do or die threats, but he stands by it. Nana refunds 237,974 salary increment. A drum mayhem report next week, and Ethiopia PM, Prime Minister, in town for talk. So Israel has brought most of the details on the stories. Let me do some international ones. Afghanistan, Germany, US, wary of new Taliban government. Flooding hits Mexico hospital, killing 17 patients. Fire sweeps through Indonesian jail, killing 41. And oh wow, okay. Brazil's far-right president, Jair Bolsonaro, says only God will remove me from power. I love it when people dare God like that, because he actually will, Yeah, anyway, Nana receives 5 new envoys. Our cops will bring proper sanitation. We were talking about that yesterday. Group calls for comprehensive baby screening. Some entertainment. I'm done with kissing rules. Oh, okay, that's according to Bibi Bright. She says she's done with kissing on the silver screens, as she suggested no amount of hefty acting paycheck can change that decision. According to her, henceforth, she won't be accepting any sexually suggestive roles in the movies. And her simple reason is that now she is a matured woman. Okay, so she said that on Hits FM. Tonto Dike reacts to leaked audio of her begging ex-lover. Ooh, okay, yeah. There's a video where she was allegedly begging her ex-boyfriend, Prince Botogri, not to leave her after he accused her of cheating. Sarkodie searches for farmer who raps to his songs. That's it for the entertainment. A few more stories. Physically challenged man ventures into farming. Coup d'etat, a terror on nation's citizens. I am a victim. There's an opinion piece on page 12. Kwame Nkrumah Pan-African Intellectual and Cultural Festival launched. Okay, this will happen next Monday, September 20th, to Friday, September 24th. And the festival this year is themed Pan-Africanism, feminism, and the next generation, liberating the culture. I told you all the themes are complicated. Yeah, Rolly Panda Rocks Domedo Party. And on the back page of the Daily Guide, PSG slams La Liga chief, Brazil players face EPL ban, Atomic Tennis Club rededicates courts, and Eastern Foot Volley set for clinic executives unveiling. I'm going straight into the Finder. As well, on the front page of the Business Finder, American companies thriving in Ghana. U.S. envoy courts more investors. Ghana, Ethiopia to deepen ties. Ghana gears up for Africa's largest youth summit. I'm sure you're interested in that, Israel. Yeah. So government is endlessly preparing to host African youth leaders, and top-ranking African government officials for this summit. It's October 20th to 22nd in Accra. So August inflation increases to 9.7%. Local oil palm producers call for forum. Youth and women are being urged to take advantage of forex markets. So they're advising women and the youth to take advantage of forex trading by gaining accurate knowledge on the sector as it kickstarts a pilot of its training project. Oh, this sounds interesting. They will train 10,000 participants for a period of 10 years in Ghana. All right. My nephew trades. He does this quite well, actually. So and he's young. So I think it's something that you can kind of do on your living room floor and, internet and just get into some forex trade, if that's what he's been doing. Anyway. Okay, Ghana, Ethiopia to deepen ties, that story. The middle page, let's live in harmony with nature, Dr. Ifriye. Climate crisis is a water crisis. Water Aid Ghana. Ghana, fourth largest beneficiary of IMF SDR allocation. And finally, okay, that's it.
Let's go to the Daily Dispatch and stop beating war drums and invest in polling agents. And I'll go to that story quickly. And what that's Poster Ben Efsing, who is saying that, and he was speaking on with Beatrice Edu on Asase, I believe, Asase Radio. It says, if you're a political party and you go and take a half-educated human being who has no link to your party, and you tell the person, I will give you 200 cedis to be my polling station agent. You give him 100 cedis and tell him that at the end of the day, you will bring him an extra 100 cedis. At 2:30 p.m., your opponent at the polling station gives him double what you promised him, and they asked him to sign the pink sheet and leave before voting ends, and he does it. Why will you be crying? That is what they do. So you don't need to kill anybody. You just need to train 50,000. If it's 45,000 polling stations, 5,000 on standby. So that's what he's telling Ben, suggesting that.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and then he also says, Mahama's warmongering, do or die comment unnecessary.
But you see, Israel, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. The reason why a lot of things which make obvious sense are not done in this country, I'm realizing, is because if we're not corrupt, we won't benefit from a lot of things. So I was talking to a friend of mine who was laughing at this whole fix the country thing. She was like, if we really fix Ghana, will we actually survive? Do we actually want to fix Ghana? Do we actually want to not be able to bribe the security man to park where we don't want to park?
Some of us want.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a rhetorical... Okay, Israel. Anyway, my point is that, so yeah, you know what I mean. That's the point I was making.
Okay, all right. But you see,
and when you join the Kenke line, yeah.
You see, they're the people who want things to remain as corrupt as they are because it benefits.
It benefits them, yeah.
Then, if we're going to streamline, everybody else has to toe that line, and we can do away with corruption, a lot more people will benefit
from it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mahama's warmongering do or die comment unnecessary, and he says, Ben Epstein says, it's unnecessary. Mahama doesn't need to make such statements to be popular. I don't think he'll apologize, but he has to find a way to water down the implications, because Akufo-Addo's all die be die comment hurt him in the minds of Ghanaians. If you look at these instances, the base of the party they led was down. So these things are done to ginger them. It's like going to war, okay?
But it's not though, is it? It's not really going to war. It's 58. Should we just quickly do My Joy Online?
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. So let's do, don't use 16 minutes to do the daily graphic tomorrow. Let's do, oh, look at me telling Israelite off. That's so cool. I'm a big woman now. Can we do my JoyOnline.com, please? Do you want to do my JoyOnline, my darling?
Okay, so my JoyOnline, I won't retract do or die comments. It's an idiomatic expression. That's former President John Mahama insisting Guineans don't believe in ECOWAS. That's an activist saying that. Not every bad experience at a hospital amounts to medical negligence, Dr. Yang Sing of the GMA.
Okay.
And ECOWAS sanctioning Guinea is not the way to go, Dr. Kena Hosu. Counter press conferences, Mahama and NDC setting agenda, controlling narrative of political conversation. As a political scientist saying that. Akufo-Addo refunds 238,000 cedi salary increments. Will break the 8 years of unprecedented economic hardships. That's of Osu Ampofo. Greater Accra Regional Minister leads task force to destroy illegal structures along Tema motorway. And Akufo-Addo's poor economic management has contributed to high cost of living. This former President John Mahama. So,
all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Israel, for that and for all the wonderful things you do. But that's it for the news review. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, and we'll have some sports, and then we'll get into the show proper. Don't go anywhere. Oh.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM show with me, Oriko Ampofo. We'll be starting off with Accra Artifolk, who would be playing Club Industrial de Council of Guinea in a single match on September 19th at the Accra Sports Stadium, with the winner of the tie set to advance to the next stage of the 2021-2022 CAF Champions League. We have details for you in the following report.
The organizing committee of the competition has decided that the match, which was scheduled to be played in Guinea this weekend, will not take place in view of the political unrest in the country. In a letter sent to the General Secretary of the GFA, Prosper Harris-Nado, on the situation, CAF quoted provisions of Articles 1 and 2, Subsection 1 of Chapter 13 of the regulations governing the competition, which stipulates that the following shall be applied. 1. In case of troubles, wars, forces majeure, and internal situations in a country that may affect the security conditions during planning of a match, the organizing committee may take the following measures. In two-leg matches, both home and away, and 2+1, if the case concerns only one country, the federation will play its home match on a ground in another country, or single game to be played on the opponent's field. Where appropriate, the organizing committee will determine the match venue. The winner of this single match will qualify to the second preliminary round of the competition. In case of a draw at the end of regulation time, the winner shall be determined by penalty kicks.
So a number of the newspapers have captured this comment on their front pages and actually in the newspaper. So the Daily Dispatch, and we have poster Benef Singh saying, stop beating war drums and invest in polling agents. And then there's also the story, my do or die is different from Akufo-Addo's all die be die. That's former President John Mahama saying that. And then Benef Singh again is saying Mahama's warmongering do or die comment unnecessary. Okay, but we have in the studio with me Alassane Suini, who's MP for Tamale North. Welcome.
Thank you
to the show. The last time you were on Zoom, and I recall we're having a conversation about Bongo.
Yes.
To open it. But yeah, that's we're done with that now.
I still have not had my supply though.
Why don't you go there yourself?
Well,
and then Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante has also joined us via Zoom. Hello, Doc. All right, you'd have
Hello, Israel.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good
morning to my good friend Suhini.
Thank you, Doc. Good morning.
Okay, maybe I'll start with you. What do you make of the comments from Former President John Mahama, do or die, and he says that he's put it in context. He's not actually calling, it's not a call to arms. He's just saying that let's just ensure that we do everything at the polling station so we don't have to end up in court. What do you make of the comments and the condemnations that have come in?
Yeah, if you look at the comment, actually it's very unfortunate. Unfortunate in the sense that, you know, politics is not a contest. Let me put it this way. Politics is just a contest of ideas. You go to the political playing field and you throw out ideas, your messages, and if they resonate with people, they give you their mandate. It is also a referendum of the work you have done previously. That is, if you've gotten opportunity to rule the country. So if you look at it from this perspective, then you realize that it's a very unfortunate comment. You can justify, put all manner of interpretation on it, but remember that you are communicating to the ordinary man on the street, all right? So the way you put out your message will elicit a type of response, either for positive or for negative. You may have a different intention when you talk to, people, but the way you communicate can create problems. But you see, Israel, my worry as a student of politics is that this idea is not new in Ghanaian politics. It's not. Anytime we go for elections, people come out with all manner of comments, intemperate language, language that is not fit for our society and all that, just to whip people in line and get votes and win power. This idea for me is not new from all die be die and the rest of it, like Ghana will burn, Ghana will turn into Liberia and all this. And we as a country must do soul searching that at what point did we go wrong? And the point is that there are a lot of things that we have not done right that has given birth to this. And one is that is the failure of our society to deal with these issues head on. What do I mean by this? Anytime we go for elections or such statements come out, we come out, one, to rationalize, two, to, at the end of the day, we glorify these people with votes and they get away with this. So you realize that we don't punish enough to deter these issues. What is more is that when we have such statements, we don't have people from within the political parties to condemn it. And it gets on, it gets on, it gets on, it gets on. So at the end of the day, yes, if you need political power, then you believe that, let me churn out something so that at the end of the day, who knows, I can be successful, get votes, and all that. One problem, if you look at John Mahama's statement, one of the problems that has led to this is the shooting incident in some of the areas we saw in the last election. For me, that is a very worrying signal. Worrying in the sense that we've had a lot of problems since 1992 in our electoral politics, from violence to ballot snatching, to the use of macho to intimidate and harass ordinary voters and all that. And we have kept quiet to this. At the end of the day, because the political actors, they benefit from this. Whoever emerges victorious, these matters are swept under the carpet. So it gives some people the courage, the opportunity to create problems for us. So if you look at the last election, the shooting incident, for me, the danger is that we have introduced a dangerous variable into the electoral equation from all the aberrations I've talked about with regards to elections of this country, we are now saying that, yes, in certain constituencies, people shoot and kill people and results are declared. These are things that send wrong signals to students of politics, seriously. And that, for me, is a warning. So any language, any action that really get us in this mood, I feel very, very uncomfortable. But that is why that is why my call for, some measures comes in handy. One, that we need a body that, in the first place, we need a period that we can call, a period of elections, where it will allow for campaign and all that, so that off-season, we do what we're supposed to do, and then we save this country of all manner of statements that will not benefit the society. Two, we need a body neutral of government that will define the standards or set the standards for political parties to follow, so that intemperate language, certain behavior, and all that will be checked, so that whoever engages in this will be named and shamed. Okay, it is the way to go.
Yeah, Dr. Kwame Asante,
if we reflect on this soberly.
Yeah, I'll come for us to look at the merits and the mechanics, how this will actually work, this body that you're calling for. But I want us to listen to the former president and hear exactly what he said, so that we can put it in proper context, and then we can also get a reaction from Alassane Suini. So he has, the former president has said what he said, and then he's insisted why and explained why he said what he said. He says he's standing by it, he's not retracting. So let's listen to him, and then we'll come to you.
Africa, your proverbs, your bube, and you can't say my young country in the straight format. Also, you're the best and the back. In English, your idiomatic expression. Omo school in terms say idiomatic expressions as say. Do or die means a critical assignment you have, and you must do the needful or perish. And so you must do the needful. I say, make us say, and this is me and train and go Supreme Court to be. There was a year of polling station and the collation center. I was here, and so I don't retract. The next election for NDC is going to be a do or die affair.
All right. So, Dr. Kwame Asante, you heard him. Is it the die bit that came in, or isn't it a case where you're having his political opponents deciding that, okay, if he said this, for purposes of equalization, let's highlight it so that he would look bad as well. And that's why we're having this conversation in the first place.
Yeah, Israel. This is one of the tips, but there is one that I listen to that starts with, in Chi, any polling station or the do or die. You don't have that. If you have that, you can play it, and we all listen to that. Okay. So from that context, for me, yes.
We have that, and so if you want, that was the original comment that he made. It was after he had made that, then he came back to explain.
No, I'm looking at the original. Let's look at the original.
So for you, it's original. That places in proper context. Okay, so let's get the original. Let's hear the original, and then we can come back to continue the conversation. All right, so we're trying to get that. It probably may take a few seconds, and then we can bring that to you. And then I'll come to you. Alassane Suini is in the studio, and he's eager to also have his take on it. And I'll come to you, Alassane.
Yeah.
So we'll hear that. So we're going to hear the tape, the original tape, and then Dr. Asante wants to
put it in context.
Okay, we can't get it immediately, but I want to come to you, Alassane Suini, so that you make the point. All right.
All right. Once again, thank you. Israel. Let me say good morning to the viewers, especially the very good people of the Tamale North constituency. And let me also acknowledge some of the points that Dr. Asante made. Yes, it's good that we think of the way forward. But in this country, I have said repeatedly that it seems to me that sometimes we in the public space tend to admit to the wrongfulness of a conduct or speech only when the NDC repeats a similar, not the same, a similar conduct or statement originally made by the NPP. That is when we tend to admit, because I recall, I have been in the media with you for a while, that even when the all die be die comment was made, some people did not even want to talk about it. I mean, it was unethical to even highlight it.
It was condemned by many.
By many, yes, by some, not many, but by some, especially those who condemned it were tagged. But the point that I'm making is that it seems to me that most of the time we find, those of us in the public space, find our voices, our strong voices of criticism of a conduct or speech and see the wrongfulness of that conduct or speech only when the NDC repeats a similar one. But I am thankful to God that similar is not the same. And so it's important that we make the difference. Similar is not the same. And it's not about what you and I or what John Mahama is saying about do or die. It's about what the Englishman says about do or die.
Okay.
It's not about what you and I are saying about
we have the video now, yes. So let's listen.
I was just hoping you wouldn't interrupt me with the video.
Sorry
but it's
about
all right.
that. We have the video now. Let's listen.
Yes, we be a BCP na audition answer. Yes, the 2020 answer. Elections, no, it will be won or lost at the polling station.
I see.
And the polling station, they better do or die. Because all die be die. They better do or die. The right thing must be done.
All right, so Dr. Kwame Asante, you've heard it, and but I'll let Alassane make his point.
Yeah, so the point I was making is that we need to acknowledge that what is wrong is wrong. We don't have, and we should be bold enough to condemn it. We should not wait until a similar conduct is repeated by the NDC, then we can now get our confidence to lump them together and speak boldly. We should be able to distinguish also between what is similar but not the same. So, for example, I have said somewhere that former President Mahama is a thinker. He's a thinker. And that is why he was very careful in this tape when he said, I did not say all die be die. I said do or die. Can I finish? So, let us not interpret it the way we want to interpret it. The first thing we do is what were we taught in school about do or die, an idiomatic expression. What is the meaning of that in English language? And the dictionary defines it. Now, the dictionary definition of do or die, as the Englishman defines it, not what John Mahama wants to mean, or what you want, or what you think he wants to mean. What the Englishman defines it to mean is to persist, even if death is the result. Not to kill, not to persist to kill, but to persist, even if death is the result. So how is that a call to violence? You could say maybe it's a call to suicide, but not a call to kill, not to attack anybody, because it's says to persist, even if death is the result. And former President Mahama, in that same tape, says that we will ensure that the right thing is done. We don't want to cheat the NPP, but we will insist that we are not also cheated.
Okay, so let's do the persistence bit.
Yes.
You painted a picture of, yes, it means persist.
Yes.
Even it means at the peril of your life. Okay, so you're insisting that maybe Electoral Commission, the electoral officer has counted the results, the ballots and everything else, and they're saying, okay, this is the result. And you're insisting that, no, that is not the result. I want you to count maybe 100th time. And the electoral officer says, no, we can't count 100 times. They insist, and they're taking the ballot boxes away, and then you come in and say, no, I'm not going to allow you to move the ballot boxes, and then there comes a confrontation. Are you saying they should still persist?
Yes, they should still persist. Because you see, the framers of our constitution...
But that's not the law. The law says that if you have a problem at the polling station, you allow it to go to the collation center.
Israel, the framers of our constitution says that we must persist, even if at the peril of our life, to defend the 1992 constitution. True or false? Is that a call to violence?
But that's not the way.
You must persist in defense of the constitution even at the peril of your life. Is that a call to violence?
No, but it means that you must follow laid down procedure.
Yes, but you must. The laid down procedure includes.
So are you
I'll give you two. No, let me give you two examples. Practical examples of the last elections in Savulugu and Zabzugu. In Savulugu, almost at the end of voting in Kadia, a polling station in the constituency, an electoral officer with a background known to the people being NPP in the community, Ishmael Kwashi, who was not registered at that polling station, got up and tore the presidential ballot paper, voted for Nana Akufo-Addo, but unfortunately, at the time he was dropping into the box, the NDC agent noticed. Thanks be to God, he did not drop it in the presidential box, he dropped it in the parliamentary box. He raised the alarm, and the electoral officer, Ishmael Kwashi, said,
first of all, how does anybody know that he voted for Akufo-Addo?
So if you listen to the end of the story, you'll know. Just listen to the end of the story. Be patient. So he raised the alarm, and then the electoral officer excuse was that he did not have time to go to where he registered to vote, so he just decided to cast his ballot here. One, that's a wrong thing. The polling agents insisted that the right thing must be done and that the ballot be opened, the ballot box be opened, so that that ballot he put in be removed. And glory be to God, because he made a mistake and dropped it in the parliamentary box, it was easy to determine the ballot that he dropped in. Because everyone else dropped presidential in presidential box and parliamentary in parliamentary box. Now, it turned into, confusion, obviously. The security came, they couldn't resolve it. They moved it to the police headquarters in Savulugu. The NDC agents insisted. They collated all the results from the other polling stations except that one. The MPP people were now in the lead without that box. And so they decided to call for the nullification of the results of that place and insisted that the electoral commissioner should nullify results from that place. They shouldn't even count, they shouldn't even open the boxes and count them. The NDC executives in the constituency, together with the regional executives, persisted and said that wasn't going to happen. It led 2 days of protest. I'm talking about 2 days of protest. The final one was at the police headquarters in the northern region, where the police commander, together with the electoral officer, agreed to open the boxes and sort the ballots out. They opened it and they found one presidential vote, the one that the electoral officer dropped in, which was voted MPP. They took it out because that was a foreign material and counted the remaining ballots in the box. It turned out that the NDC won that constituency by 99 votes as a result of that persistence. That is persisting to the life, at the peril of your life. If they had waited to fill letters and go, right now the NPP is in court, but the NDC MP is in parliament.
Okay.
I said two, if you permit me. The second one is Zabzugu, and it's interesting. Zabzugu, they did not notice the overvoting at the polling station, but they noticed the overvoting at the collation center. And so they protested. It turned into violence. The security came and sacked everybody. and took the ballot boxes into a room, a safe room, locked it up. The NDC agents also went to lock it with a padlock so that they could secure it. Even as we speak today, the ballot boxes in Zabzugu is still under watch by the National Security and the NDC agents. They go there every day to check in. But guess what? They blinked. And so in the dark of the night, after they locked the ballot boxes, the district chief executive, together with the deputy regional minister, who was the candidate at the time, took the collation papers with the electoral commission officers to an unknown location in Tamale, where they did the collation alone. And I'm sure you saw those videos of the deputy northern regional minister being declared in the presence of security men, an unknown location in the dark of the night. They did their collation and declared him. He's sitting in parliament. The ballot boxes are still locked up in Zabzugu. Because they blinked. They did not persist. So to the peril of their life, they blinked and we lost the Zabzugu seat. In parliament, if we had not gone into that chamber with a do-or-die attitude, Speaker Bagwin wouldn't be a speaker today. Speaker Bagwin wouldn't have been a speaker, and you saw what happened that night. And the attempt by Kala Sahinkura to even run away with what the verdict of the day was. So that is what we must understand. We shouldn't interpret it to suit whatever agenda we seek against the former president. We must go first of all to the definition of the phrase he used. And the definition of that phrase is clear, that you must persist. The framers of our constitution enjoins us to persist. And if we do not see those who wrote the constitution, and we don't not see anything wrong with the call for us to defend the constitution with our life, as we don't describe it as a call to war. In fact, maybe something basic. You know, when you started this program, you promoted a very good, project. A very good project of people supporting to do
the classroom project.
The classroom project. Very good work. But it's basic. You said something that I even find more dangerous than all this discussion that we are having. The politicians may have failed you. That is very common on the lips of average Ghanaians who find do or die as a threat. But the politicians may have failed you. What replacement do you have for the politicians? The military?
Okay, but if I said the politicians may have failed you,
so
I'm not calling for
now
people
you are defending yourself. Let me interpret it.
I'm not.
Let me interpret it you are saying because once you begin to succeed.
Why are you even bringing me into this conversation?
Israel, once you succeed in convincing the people that the politicians have failed.
I'm not convincing them.
The West is dangerous.
I'm not convincing them. The people are out there. They say it all the time. And it's one complaint. As you indicated yourself, it's one complaint that people keep making all the time. But the politicians have failed.
And again, that raises another issue.
So they say the politicians have failed.
I perfectly understand you. I'm just making the point that there are certain things we rather ignore that are more dangerous to the future of our democracy than this, attempt to, define do or die in a way that it will suit whatever agenda. And look, you hear people like Dr. Asante say that, yes, people can misunderstand it. That means he doesn't misunderstand it because he knows the meaning. But the fear is that people out there may misunderstand it.
Fortunately, we just have it. Let him speak for himself.
Can I finish on the point that I'm making? You see, because the comment is, yes, we understand do or die is an idiomatic expression. We understand it's a phrase. We understand it means persist till death. But people can misunderstand it. And my question is, if you understand it, Israel, because you are educated enough to know the meaning and to know what exactly it means, and you have a platform like this, why do you think or assume that the average man doesn't deserve that knowledge you know? Why don't you rather educate the average man that do or die should not be misunderstood? Do or die means what it means.
Why do we have to find ourselves in a situation where we have to educate people about do or die? Let me bring in Dr.
So why do we have to find ourselves in a situation where we want to assume that they don't understand?
Dr. Kwame Asante. So as you heard Alassane Sweeney say, he says, well, all the former president is saying is that it's asking the people to persist even at the peril of their lives. And he's equating it to what the Constitution calls us to do.
Yeah, it's right. There's no doubt about that vigilance is the price of liberty. Well, but we do all these things within the framework of the law. for me, all that I'm saying is that, look, we can make statements, but let us be measured and tempered so that what is more important is our programs or policies that we throw out. You see, we can play, we can defend it to the level that we want to do, but the stark reality will dawn on us one day if we don't take, we are not careful and handling these things very, very well. Let us, please just 1 second.
All right, so Dr. Kwame Asante has a bit of a technical challenge. I'm sure he would resolve it in a bit, and then he can join us. So he's trying to resolve. I suspect it has to do with your power going down.
Israel.
Yes.
Hello.
You have to plug in your charger, I suspect.
I am back. Yes, I had to do that. Forgive me.
That's okay.
Forgive me. But what I was saying is that, look, let us do the right things so that we get our electoral process always intact. I have mentioned that all these statements, all right, are born out of the fact that we had some shooting incidents and all that, and the way as a society we responded to it, all right. Since 1992, we've seen a lot of, activities that have gone against the electoral process. And the last election, we move it to another height where shooting and all that, people died. And it looks as if the state have forgotten about this. There's a dangerous variable that we have introduced into the political equation. And, it affects the political fortunes of this country. So for me, as a student of politics, and look at some of these things and look at them very, very carefully. Let us build institutions that we can be confident in that institution. You remember recently, NDC about electoral reforms, one of it which is social security, where we involve electoral commission in the security matters and by law. I added something to it that we even want to add the political parties to it because there is a Cambodian experience which is there for us to look at, where the security people, electoral commission, and the political parties sit at the table, discuss the security measures as to how they will protect the electoral process, and they review it from time to time. Why can't we look at some of these things? Because look, my worry also is that any time we are going for elections, these problems keep coming and we sweep them under the carpet. Yes, when the elections are over, we don't think about them anymore. But I tell you, if we want to build a democracy that will stand up the test of time, these are things that we need to work against. Because one major problem with young democracies is the issue of reversal, where democracy reverses, where people believe that democracy is not paying or giving them the dividends that they want, then they want to resort to something that you and I don't want to know or hear. And for me, that is what the state must look at, all right? I have said that when you look at this statement and that of what all die be die and all that, and others, such as what Ghana will bend, Ghana will turn into Liberia, you and I have heard a lot of some of these things. Let us be measured and tempered and then build a society that all of us will be proud in. But that is also to say that we need to build institutions that you and I will trust, institutions that, they will stand the test of time, institutions that will operate using the law, so that whenever somebody crosses the line, that person can be handled the way he ought to be handled.
All right. Now, Mr. Sweeney, so you've heard what Dr. Kwame Asante is saying. Essentially, yes, some of these comments can be inflammatory. And so maybe we could avoid all of these. That's the point he's making. And if the former president has said that, if he would just retract and apologize, we'd all move on and would have the country in peace and not have to worry about all these explanations and trying to justify.
You know, Israel, at the risk of repeating myself, that would have been, you know, an easy conversation to have. But like I said earlier, I find it intriguing personally that, you know, we sometimes begin to get the boldness and the courage to have these conversations only when the NDC repeats similar things we knew in our hearts all along were wrong or were, you know, condemnable. I recall even all die-be-die statements, some stations didn't want to play the voice. They didn't even want the voice to be heard. I recall, I mean, for whatever reason, they thought it shouldn't be heard.
Probably they didn't think that it should be propagated any further.
Exactly. Well, perhaps that was a good justification. But like I said, today the NDC makes a similar, and I keep using the word similar and saying that they are not the same. NDC makes a similar comment. It is now okay and fine for us to bring the two together and have some, you know, tea party. Perhaps if our approach to all die be die, you know, was not the way it was, perhaps we would have better understood do or die as what it means. Here we are. We understand do or die is an English phrase. We understand that it means persist at the, I mean, even if it's at the peril of your life to achieve, you know, an outcome that is desirable. It's not like to do anything bad. We understand. But our conversation is based on our fear that some people won't understand. Then what is the use of the knowledge we have in understanding when we can't convince people to understand? That this is not a call to violence. This is not a call to kill. This is a call, like we are enjoined by the framers of our Constitution, to defend the Constitution even at the peril of our life. Indeed, it is repeated in our national anthem that we must resist what is wrong with all our might, with all our will. And that is exactly what the former president says. And I've just given you clear examples of how that won us the Sablugu seat.
Right.
And how, in the course of blinking, it lost us the Sablugu seat. So, Techiman South is a known case. Everybody who has followed the case this far knows what happened in Techiman South. People persisting and indeed getting killed as a result of their persistence. Even as we shy away from condemnations of those who shot and killed those innocent people who only persisted and insisted that the right thing be done, we think that we should all become docile. Why? Is it as safe to say that some people have a plan to do wrong, so it is a threat to their plan when you call on people to insist on the right being done even at the peril of their life? Is a threat to their plan to do wrong.
All right, we'll have to move on at this point. But there'll be more on this conversation having to do with all die, be die, and do or die in State of Play. State of Play, it comes up today at 2:30. And we'll have Evans Mensah, we'll have Raymond Aqua, Winston Amwa. They'll be coming together to look at it in detail.
So it's the 12th edition of the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair. And there's a lot going on. It's powered by the planned city extension projects from Cities and Habitats. Now, the fair is under the theme Home Ownership, to build or to buy. Join us as we help you resolve the to buy or build dilemma with the first mini clinic at the Achimota Retail Center. And it's on Saturday, 11th and 12th, so it's this Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The second mini clinic will be coming off at the West Hills Mall from Saturday the 18th and Sunday the 19th September. That's next weekend. Also from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can follow us on our social media platforms with the hashtag JoyHabitatFair. Well, this morning I'm having a conversation with Mr. Dan Edu. He's joining us and he does something that's very exciting. He's a projects manager for cities and habitats, but he's also maybe the go-to person if you want to rent to own, or, you know, if you're trying to decide on whether you want to build or to buy. So good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Eniwa. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. So, I mean, we love the idea of renting to own, because a lot of us are renting, and it's like you're pouring money into a dark hole, which you never get back. But with a rent to own, you're pouring money into a white hole, which then becomes a foundation for your future, which is fantastic. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about, you know, the Planned City Extension project and how it's even possible, you know, that you're able to offer, you know, something like that?
Yeah, you see, if you take the challenges that we have had over the years, you know, as far as housing is concerned, the point is that if government or individuals, you know, if we keep doing, it is said that if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're not going to have
different results.
So then we have to look at what really is or are the challenges, you know, as far as the housing industry or the housing sector is concerned, financing, how will people be able to make it at the end of the day? You know, so we don't get to a point, now it's nearing the crisis situation. We are just hoping that we don't get to the point where we say that, you know, birds have nests, foxes have holes.
But the Son of Man.
The Ghanaian does not have any place.
Yeah.
You understand? So then we have to look at different, you know, schemes, different ways of housing delivery elsewhere. What is the Ghanaian situation? How are income levels? How will we be able to make the ordinary Ghanaian, you know, irrespective of your income, be able to access housing or be able to do something for yourself? That is, you know, the genesis of this whole rent to own. So that at the end of the day, instead of waiting for some huge money from somewhere which may never come, you can start, you know, in your own small way, put some monies aside. You are renting 500 Ghana cedis, 1,000 Ghana cedis, 1,500, 2,000. Now it's even in dollars. If you channel it properly, you can be able to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so you look at the system and, you know, some you might have heard, they say consultancy costs about 10% of, you know, housing development and other costs, which we believe that, no, it is possible to still do it and to have housing as low as possible. It doesn't just mean that you're going to have, I mean, it's going to be cheap. I mean, you are going to have some cheap material and everything. You know, affordable doesn't mean it's cheap.
It's cheap, yeah, of course.
But if it is structured in a way that is flexible, if we have a long-term view of financing, if we're able to galvanize the system itself, it is possible to do it.
To do it, yeah.
It is possible.
I mean, it sounds exciting and it sounds hopeful, you know, but who can do it? Can anyone, you know, just who, you know, has some interest in it? Is it easy to get onto? Is it a scheme that's easy to get onto?
Yeah, it's easy. You don't need, as it were, to go and bring some security from somewhere.
Okay.
At the end of the day, you will be paying rentals.
Okay.
So how much rent can you pay?
Okay.
How much is your budget for the month? What kind of payment plan, you know, do you want?
Okay,
so
it's a monthly payment plan.
It's a monthly payment plan. You can have a 5-year payment plan for the house. You can have 25 years, up to 25 years. That's the maximum, you know, threshold.
Is it different from getting a mortgage?
It's different.
Okay.
Mortgage, you would have to go through the bank.
Yeah, which is
interest.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, this is direct. The first 5 years may vary. The prices may vary if the dollar, you know,
how it's doing.
But beyond that, it's flat.
Okay.
For as long, I mean, for the tenure that you choose.
Okay.
To be making your payment.
And by the time you're done, the house is yours.
The house is yours.
I mean, it sounds really, really good. So, I mean, for example, if someone was interested, they would just need to come to you and say, okay, maybe I have 1,000 cedis a month, which, you know, I used to pay rent, so I can just direct that to you.
Exactly.
Are you taking deposits?
Yeah, so we're taking rentals.
Okay.
You pay your registration, which is 499 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Then you need to make an initial deposit of 3,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Then you'll be giving your offer letter.
Okay.
I mean, with the detailed terms and conditions.
And then that's it?
And that's it. After that, you start making your monthly rental.
Monthly payment.
So if it is 1-bedroom semi-detached that you want, you can choose from the payment plan. If it is, and that's expandable to 2 bedrooms.
Okay.
If it is 2-bedroom detached or semi-detached, or 3-bedroom detached or semi-detached, or even a villa, or even a beachfront property that you want, I'm sure you like this, you would want a beachfront.
I do love the beach.
You know, so you choose from the menu of properties, and then how much, depending on your budget or your pocket, you decide, I want a 1-bedroom, I can expand to 2 when I finish making payments.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I love the sound of that, because I mean, talking to a lot of young people who want to buy homes, the biggest issue seems to be that big chunk of deposit that you have to pay at the beginning. And most of the time you're talking about 30, 40,000 cedis or dollars, depending on the price of the house. You know, but 3,000 is a figure that, you know, you can hustle and look for, you know, and then there's all of that hope. But so far, what has been the response? What has that been like from your clients?
It's, you see, because it is almost, let's say it's almost new. So initially, people were like, no, Charlie, how is this thing possible? Until they realized that, look, it's true after all. Every quarter we have organized site visits for our clients. And they're excited about progress, because a year by now, even by Easter, some want to move into residence.
Okay.
You know, so they're excited about progress, and we are also working hard to make it work for them.
Yeah. What are some of the areas that are available?
Yeah, so we have for Ningo Pram Pram, and then we have Shy Hills will be opened up next year.
Okay.
We are hopeful that this year, before the end of the year, Sekendi Takrade
will join,
will join, because there's very good positive pressure from all over the country.
From all over. And the good thing is, I mean, the areas that you're mentioning, the government is at least trying to do some work with expanding the road network and all of that. So, I mean, commuting, you know, to town wouldn't be a problem.
That's right.
You know, if the roads are done, and it sounds really good. So I think that I encourage people to check you out this weekend. You'll be at the Habitat Fair. So find Mr. Dan Edu when you get there. It's Cities and Habitats, and they're offering you a chance to own your own home through rental. So it's just like you're paying rent every month, and you know, you wake up one day and ta-da, the home is yours.
Absolutely.
Almost like magic. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Is there anything that you'd like to finish with before we go?
So you may want to, whoever is interested, may want to visit the website.
Okay.
That's newaccra.city.
Okay.
Or you can call 05555 30 300.
Okay.
Or 0577 9111 01. And you'll be giving all the needed
information. Alternatively, you can just stop by the Achimota Retail Center Saturday, Sunday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We'll be there. Mr. Dan Edu will be there. You can get all the help that you need. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. All right, so we're going to go for a quick break. When we come back, IB is here with some exciting stuff from Nana Sase. Don't go anywhere.
Penin bekam penin sem, mofra betuan ansesem. Nya kenyina wunyam insem, and our shadows would find their places on the walls. I am a child of the sky planted in the wombs of the earth. I'm a bundle of eternal power, handed down many wells of wisdom from which monarchs have drunk and handed down to generations yet to enter the thoughts of time. And I am a lonely dreamer, traveling to distant homes to nurse my germinating journeys and to seed my adventures as fruit for my daring. I am a jubilating fruit, swinging the visible joys of a breezy day. I remain the hefty tongue of conscience, housing the cheeks of time, awaiting the next eternity to speak light to this chaos of the world. And so this manly dark dance lacks rhythm and color without my drum and songs. Or Mama Kwenje. I am the writer king who sips communion wine from the calabash. I'm not here to pour libation. This is simply a communion of ourselves. And so, let the drums roll themselves out till their skins wear. Let the rivers rush to and fro in search for what is beneath their bottoms that they cannot touch. Let the winds breeze through and renew the gossips of yesterday. Flutes always remain to tell multitones of truth. It does not belong to the warriors on the front lines. It does not belong to Chidom. It does not belong to the king who even sits on the throne. Uneasy is his head that carries the crown. Uneasy his bottom that sits on the throne. Yet flute belongs to mother. The flute belongs to Abriwetia. The flute belongs to Nana Abriwetia. Flute belongs to the creator in the beginning who created mother, woman, earth, tomb, such that we spring forth after all our lives is spent in this long, short sojourn. We go back home to rest. Yet, that is not the concern of this conversation. If I took that up, it would outlast this undertaking. Writer king who sips communion wine from the calabash. I have a simple assignment. IB,
Nana,
someone to duty.
Okay.
Good morning, IB. How are you?
I'm good.
It's a pleasure to have you in my living room this morning.
So he comes on my show and he invites me on the show. Well, you're welcome to Showbiz on the AM show. And this is how I loved starting today's Showbiz. Nana?
Yes.
Well, welcome back to stage.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, you've stayed away from stage for a while.
It's been a while.
Why?
It's very important. I call it the Jesus principle. So good morning, everybody. You realize that our Lord Jesus Christ, while he was here, would preach, heal, teach, all of that. Then at a point, he takes a couple of his disciples, recedes.
And hibernates.
And out of them, he takes an extra 3. And out of the 3, he goes into a place alone. You always need to revamp, you always need to refuel, and then you come back stronger.
Was that to say that you are depleted, words were depleting?
Not exactly. You know, we always draw from a bottomless well. But it's important that after you have put so much out there, you take a step back. You review what you have done, re-strategize, and come back with fresh things, fresh ideas. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. And so we're here. You are welcoming me because obviously you have missed something. Someone is watching because they have missed something. I'm also back because I missed something. So 3 ways. It's good for everybody.
And congratulations on your Emmy nomination.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, how did you receive this news?
I was so happy because, you know, just before that, we won the Best Performance Poet for the Maiden Entertainment Achievement Awards organized by CTTV. And then the Emmys come in. It's just to tell us that we've been doing something good. And so I tell them I'll gladly quit 9 years ago, over and over again, not knowing where I'm going, but at least things like this let me know that I'm up to something good. And consistency will definitely pay off and produce the results we're looking for.
Achievement or hurdle ahead of you with this nomination?
You see, I feel the pressure is increased to do more because you are known for a mark. You cannot go lower. So it's not getting there that is hard, it's keeping it and probably going higher.
Okay.
That is the kind of pressure that makes people like Usain Bolt get out of the game early and others. But you see, we're very young. And the space we have entered has a lot more room ahead for everybody, especially for young people like us to carry our heritage, our culture, so forward. So there's a long stretch ahead with a lot more to come, hurdles to be overcome. The thing is, once you win a battle, you earn an extra medal. And so whichever challenge is coming, I guess we are ready.
It becomes heavy on your chest.
I tell you.
Okay. Now, I just want a clear distinction between this spoken word and poetry. Is there any difference?
Let me not be academic. But
don't be.
I won't be
academic. Be as easy and simple as anybody like me I can understand.
Okay. So when you write something, what is it?
Writing.
Written word.
Yes.
So you memorize it.
Yes.
And you speak it out. What does it become? Spoken
word.
That is very basic for anybody to understand. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. So the difference between spoken and the written is simply that mostly the spoken emanates from the written or the thoughts spoken.
Okay.
Let us leave it there.
Okay.
When we're talking about the art form,
Okay.
then somebody wants to differentiate between spoken word and poetry. Sometimes it's called spoken word poetry. Because as an art form, it typically emanates from the spontaneous.
Okay,
It deals with elements like the punchlines, you know, the rhythms, and all those kind of things. Most of the time, it's very spontaneous. And it's, in a lot of ways, rooted in this black movement that started in the States. You know, all these black students writing poetry as it came because they couldn't do all the similes and metaphor, all that rigorous, you know, grammar, poetic arithmetic. And so in having group review, then they would put their poetry to shape. But it was just put it out there as your energies would have you. So you realize that when you pay attention to a lot of these black American poets especially, or these foreign poets especially, speak with a lot of emotion, speak with a lot of power. Some of them are even sermons put into such a manner. Because it's put to rhythm, it stays with you, because music is the only thing proven scientifically to get into your subconscious without your permission. So that was African poetry. Now, liken it to our linguists.
Yes.
Given appellations. You might not have thought about it that way. Look at it.
Yes.
Spoken word poetry.
Okay. Well, that was a medication that I love it. Okay. So, confluence.
Confluence.
Yeah.
Confluence.
This is number
5.
5. Grace.
So, Confluence is the 5th in the Mental Picture series.
Okay.
The Mental Picture series was started in 2012.
2012.
And as you said, we took a little break. We're back. Confluence is a night of literary readings and performances set to celebrate women, Mother Africa, the resilience of our people in the face of COVID as embodied in the strengths of the African woman. So it's a multi-art, event, poetry, drum music. We're playing the flutes. We have a visual artist, Esther Kaki Caesar, doing an art exhibition. And my partner and manager, Sally Tope, she's a Ghanaian international fashion designer. There's a fashion show right there.
Yeah, I was talking to her. I was very impressed about all the things we were saying.
Fantastic things going on.
Yeah.
This is the first year beyond return. What are our people returning to? They should return to African art. People are asking for where can I go on a Friday night to sit and enjoy poetry, folk music. The Legon Pamoin Band is on. Hashmula is performing.
Okay.
So it's actually a night to just, celebrate the arts and just...
Are you serving palm wine there?
A lot of palm wine.
Makafui, he's serving palm wine. Yeah. Newton, there will be palm wine. Yeah. These are two people I know. I share a lot of calabashes with.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so has it always been like this from 2012?
From 2012. Confluence has had different themes that we have worked with.
Okay.
We chose to celebrate women because we realized this. Women have the tendency, look at what pregnancy takes for 9 months. What happens eventually? They deliver. They have the patience to see things through. I think Africa has gone through that process, and gradually we're getting back on our feet.
Okay.
Not only with COVID, post-COVID, every other bit of our lives is really coming back, and we feel at least a cause for celebration, these little steps that we have tried.
Women are being celebrated a lot nowadays by people and by, even people around the globe.
We've not done it enough.
We've not done it enough.
We've not done it enough.
Okay.
Because there's a woman in all of us.
Hold on, there's no woman in me.
There's a woman in all of us.
Explain.
In the beginning, God created woman.
He didn't create man.
He created woman. He created the earth. And out of it, he created man. And out of man, he made woman. So woman is simply a refinement of herself.
Oh, okay. So everything that gives birth is said to be a woman.
Whichever way it is. If you choose to look at it that way.
Okay. So he is having... Confluence is one of the shows that he's been having ever since 2012, but is the Mental Picture series. But this year's edition, which happens to be number 5, the year of grace for him on the show, he decides to celebrate women, and he dubs it Confluence. The flute belongs to the mother, right? Yes. What is the connection? Why are you associating the flute to mom?
Ivy, if everything went off in this place, if you play the flute, you would still have song.
Yeah.
Back in the day, in most cultures, even when they would go off to war, the flute would be the first instrument to be played.
Okay.
Now, when someone is late and we need to celebrate them, it is the flute. And so why don't we pay attention to the flute? Yet when the whole ensemble starts, you probably might not hear the flute. But when the kings gather and they need to take counsel, who do they go to? They go to mother. Probably the smallest frame. Abriwetia has never died till now. Have you thought of it?
Okay. I mean, your poetry, your art form stems from, there's a lot of tradition in there. A lot of tradition. Why?
Yeah. Maybe if you lost your identity, how would you be placed in the world?
Okay.
And so I grew up learning the pride of being Ghanaian, the pride of being an Akan, the pride of being, part of a bigger community of different cultural groups that make up the whole of Ghana. And it's so beautiful to me. Anytime I've been anywhere in the world, I'm so proud to wear my fugu or whatever it is. So somebody knows, look, this person is from this place. I've been bold enough to meet somebody who is not from here and greet you in Chi, marching. If you don't understand, get an interpreter. IB, you know what? And it's so beautiful the way our languages make meaning, when we make music with our languages, when we communicate in our languages. The way we admire somebody's language. Unfortunately, we can't have this interview in Fanti. We would have had a very beautiful time.
You see, the reason why I stick to my Fanti, when people are speaking Chi and all that, I stick to my Fanti. Yes. Okay, so quickly, where is it happening at? How much do I have to pay to enter?
We are having the event at the Accra City Hotel, former Hotel.
Okay.
Friday 17th. That's next week Friday.
Next week Friday.
It's at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Oh, you just give us your penny to my 80 cedis per.
So it's 80. Penny bia to 80. Oh.
Penny bia 80.
On your AKOKORASE way.
Oh, AKOKORASE no na just no. Why audition? Audition no is a couple's ticket. That's 150, and then the VIP goes for 120. So it's 80, 120 for VIP, and 150 for. Okay. 2-in-1.
Yes. So that is it coming off the Accra City Hotel on the 17th. That is next week Friday. So make sure you make time to be there. Well, tomorrow there's going to be a release of a beautiful piece of music. It's called Kiss Me. And it is coming from the man who is always responsible for you hearing me every time I come to stand on TV to talk, our sound engineer here. Yes, he is responsible for everybody's voice coming on TV, and he is releasing, I think that's his debut, Kiss Me. I don't know why Kiss Me, but no, I've been told this is not his debut, but he's releasing a single tomorrow. So Kiss Me is the track of the title. Happy birthday. Well, greetings going out to you, Martin George and Bridget Atipo from September Bronze at Calvary Baptist Church, Shiashi. And also happy birthday to you, Nathaniel Lakleku of Stanbic Bank Head Office, from your wife, Mona Lisa Kelly Kujo of SG Bank, the children, and from Philip of First Atlantic Bank. They're saying that may God bless you and keep blessing you. Before you go, freestyle about this pretty lady standing there for me. A freestyle. Like 2 minutes or a minute. Quick one. 1 minute.
When a beautiful woman serves you food or water, half of your appetite is sated. And so what do you see in the wonders of the world when you open your windows at first? You see the original refinement that made the Creator change his mind. Mother, Queen, Woman, keeper of the gates of life, keeper of the divine flutes that make all music. Confluence. The flute still belongs to Mother. Oba, when you say him for PM and assassin,
please be in the middle. Please.
Oh, no, in fact, you can leave the set. Thank you. Oh, my God. It's getting very, okay.
Yes.
And this is Nana Sase who just, did that. Just like that. Okay. Yeah. You want to be there next week, Friday?
Yes.
For the program.
If you want to get tickets, you get to Accra City Hotel or to City FM, and you have your tickets.
And you get your tickets from there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to have had.
All right, and thank you to you for spending your morning with us. We absolutely love you. Hope you have a great day. Israel and I will be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. Stay tuned.